Hello everyone, my name is Crystal and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a Shameless book haul for you guys. So today in my book haul, I just want to shamelessly say that I have a really large stack of books here, and I know I promised myself and others that I would not go book shopping this year, at least for the first 6 months, but I did have a birthday in January and Christmas and my birthday combined. I got a lot of gift cards, I got a lot of gifts, so majority of these I did not purchase myself per se. I did use my gift cards and birthday money, and a lot of my friends sent me some Amazon gifts in the mail as well. I have been the moodiest reader the last year. I just keep mixing up genres. I have to say, I don't just read one genre. I read multiple genres because of, depends on my mood really. Like, I just don't want to just stick with one genre. I feel like you just kind of have to keep your options open. So I have a bunch of stuff here, but a lot of it is fantasy. Like, I technically read mostly fantasy, but without further ado, let's just get into the book haul before I start just rambling on and on and on as I always do. So the first book I have here is We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan Barry. I have heard such great things of this book. My friend Carol loved it. Kayla from Books and Lala loved it. It was her favorite book of the year. So I'm really excited to get into this. This is actually our March pick for the Stacks of Strange book club that I'm a part of. So I will leave link down below all the information for that book club if you'd like to join along. We do read the book for the whole month, and then we have a live show at the end of the month. So it's always a great time. So if you haven't joined in on our discussions just yet, definitely join in for this one, because it's going to be a really good one. I know this book takes place in like Danvers, Massachusetts and Salem, and there's like magic and witches involved and all that stuff. So I'm really excited to pick this one up in March. Yeah, I love anything that takes place in Massachusetts. I love that state. I have here The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I've never read The Hobbit, I've never read The Lord of the Rings. I was a fan of the movies back in the day, but I just never wanted to read the books. I didn't have a desire, but now I have a desire. I feel like a lot more talk has been coming around about this series lately on Booktube, and I want to read it. I have been dying to read it. I know it's not the most fast-paced fantasy story, and it's very slow and world building and all that fun stuff, but I'm looking forward to getting into it. I'm going to start off with The Hobbit and then obviously go into the Lord of the Rings trilogy as well. When I'll get to this, I don't know, but I'm hoping to get at least started at some point this year. Next I have We Were Villains by ML Rio. This is a well-loved book on YouTube, on Booktube. Everybody loves this, especially if you're a big fan of dark academia. So I picked this up and it's been sitting on my shelves. I know I had purchased like the ebook a really long time ago, never got to it. Now I have it on my shelf. I just picked it up with my Christmas money. So I'm really looking forward to getting to this eventually. I read like the first like chapter and I was really into it. I just wasn't like in the mood for something like this at the moment, but the mood will come. I'm hoping like sometime in spring I'll get more into it. I know this is heavily like Shakespeare inspired, and I'm not really the biggest like Shakespeare fan, I guess you could say. Like, I really don't know much about his work, so I feel like I might not get some of the nods to his work in this, and it might become kind of like reading another language, but we shall see, because I know it is very, very heavily influenced by Shakespeare, and there is a lot of referrals to his work in here. The next I have here, The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter, and this is by Theodore Goss. This is like the first in a series, and everybody's been talking about this on Booktube, so I picked it up. I remember seeing it, I don't know if it was like a book of the month, like from Barnes & Noble, like a year ago or something like that, but I remember it being something, and it is the Nebula Prize winner for science fiction and fantasy. Oh no, it's a finalist. So I'm really looking forward to getting to this. I know it takes place in like the Victorian era, and there's like Jekyll and Hyde, and like Frankenstein and all those monsters kind of come into play, but it's like the kids of those monsters, right? It just sounds really interesting to me, and I love all that stuff. I grew up watching the monsters, the Universal monsters, and I grew up watching Abbott and Costello. I don't know if anybody's ever watched Abbott and Costello, but there was a series there where they met the monsters. So I'm really interested into getting into this because I just love that lore. Next I have The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This series is a well-loved series on Booktube, and I have yet to pick it up because I'm not great at reading series. I'm really just not. But I heard that this is an amazing series. It is Asian inspired. I'm really looking forward to getting to this. I know it has to do with like gods and demons and all that as well, but it is one of the most goriest fantasy stories out there because it is about a war and it gets pretty graphic from what I've heard. So I think that's kind of why I put it off for so long, because war kind of just gets me a little bit. It's too realistic for me. So it tends to kind of pull at my heartstrings a little bit and kind of brings reality into play, and I just don't like that sometimes in books. But I heard nothing but great things about this, and this is like Asian folklore inspired as well. So I really want to get into this. Next I have this beauty from Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Everybody's talking about this book. This is a very, very hyped book last year and this year so far. I will get to it. I just don't know when. If anybody wants to buddy read it with me, let me know. I would love to buddy read it with somebody. I'm not really, you know, the fantasy reader, but I do love Sarah J. Maas's work. I love her books. So I would love to pick this up. I don't know if this is like a vampire book. Can someone confirm that for me? Like, does this have to do with vampires? Am I wrong about that? I feel like I heard someone say it was like a vampire book, and that's what really pushed me to purchase it more, but I don't know. Like, from the synopsis, it doesn't give that away that it's vampires, but I don't know why I thought it was vampires. Anyway, so if anybody wants to buddy read this with me, I am very much looking forward to checking out the hype of this book. Then next I have What Big Teeth by Rose Zabo. This is our February book of the month pick for the Stacks of Strange book club. This is a book about, it's like a weird magical realism. I want to say it's about like werewolves or like the wolf kind of in the woods type of deal. Really don't know much about this. I really should pick it up because it is the middle of February and it is our February book club pick. But our live show is March 4th. So I do still have time to read it. So if you want to join in, it is rather short and it is YA, so I'm pretty sure I can finish this in like a couple days. So if you're interested in joining us and discussing this interesting, weird, strange book, join Stacks of Strange and our live show. The next I picked up The Sandman by Lars Kepler. This is, I want to say it's book 5 in the series, or book 4, but it's a standalone, it's a series, but they're standalone books, so you can read all the books in Lars Kepler's like Juna Lina series. You can read them separately, but it's probably better to read them in order because you get a little bit more of a background story of the main characters, because it is revisiting the same characters with every book. So there are things that happen that you want to place together. I really enjoy Lars Kepler's writing, so I'm looking forward to getting into this book very soon. And a favorite bookstagrammer of mine, Abby, this is one of her favorite books of all time. She is Crime by the Book, so if you want to check out her Instagram, I will leave her link down below. That's where I got a lot of my crime mystery recommendations from. She has the best recommendations. She has a blog, so check her out. Apparently this book is very frightening and it does start off with a murder, and it's very gruesome, it's very descriptive. There's a lot of descriptive text in Lars Kepler's writing, and Lars Kepler is actually a husband and wife duo writers. It is Nordic noir fiction, so you do have a lot of dark elements to it. So if you're someone who's sensitive to, you know, abuse, murder, blood, guts, things like that, and you know, there's rape in these books, and it's very descriptive, but it is, you know, a mystery, true crime type style book. So if you're looking for something like that, if you're someone who loves thrillers, they definitely write in a way that's very thrilling, but the work is translated from Scandinavian, I believe, so There are like sometimes when you're reading it, you're like, wait a minute, did like a 5-year-old write this? Because it is translated work. So, but I definitely recommend Lars Kepler. I know a lot of people don't really talk about them on BookTube, but I think that this will be like a newfound favorite for a lot of thriller lovers out there. Then next I have my book of the month picks for February, and that is The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I have been dying to read this book, and who knows when I'm gonna pick it up, but I absolutely love The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. I love her writing, and I have very much been looking forward to this book. This is another historical fiction book by her, and I want to say it takes place in the 1930s. It has to do with the Depression of that time. Oh, Texas 1921, I'm sorry. The Great War is over, the bounty of the land is plentiful, and America is on the brink of a new and optimistic era. But for Elsa Wolcott, deemed too old to marry in a time when marriage was a woman's only option, the future seems bleak until the night she meets Rafe Martinelli and decides to change the direction of her life. With her reputation in ruins, there is only one respectable choice: marriage to a man she barely knows. By 1934, the world has changed. Millions are out of work, and a drought has devastated the Great Plains. Farmers are fighting to keep their land and their livelihoods as crops fail and water dries up, and the earth cracks open. Dust storms roll relentlessly across the plains. Everything on the Martinelli farm is dying, including Elsa's tenuous marriage. Each day is a desperate battle against nature and a fight to keep her children alive. In this uncertain and perilous time, Elsa, like so many of her neighbors, must make an agonizing choice: fight for the land she loves or leave it behind and go west to California in search of a better life for her family. Very long synopsis. I'm so sorry, guys, but this sounds like a really great book, especially for what we're going through right now, what we're coming out of right now. I feel like this will be a really inspiring, emotional novel for anybody to read right now. The next, I also picked The Push by Ashley Audrain. Everybody in the horror community on Bookstagram right now is talking about this book, so I had to add it to my Book of the Month box this month. I will be reading this for the Horror in 24 readathon that is going to be from February 18th to February 21st in case you want to join in last minute. I'm really looking forward to this. This is like a psychological, bits of horror, weird book about like a woman and her child. I really don't want to know much more because it is rather short, so if I know a lot about it, I just will have too much of an inkling of what's going on. But everybody's talking about this book, so I need to know what happens in it. So this will be part of my TBR for Horror in 24. Next, I recently picked up The Wastelands by Stephen King because I unhauled all of my Dark Tower series books like an idiot. I had read the first one and the second one like a couple years ago, and I just, not that I wasn't into it, I was just not in the mood for it. And The Gunslinger, it was good, but it was just so weird, and the lobstrosity thing, and like a lot of like weird shit happens in these books. Like, I will tell you, Stephen King is like, he goes there with these books. So I unhauled them because I never thought that I would read them again, and if I did, I was like, oh, I'll just pick them up from the library. Well, I picked up The Wastelands because I had my gift card, and I was like, you know what, give it a shot. I'll pick up book 3, see what happens. I am obsessed with this book. It is so good. I'm flying through it. It's a 600-page book. I have 200 pages left. I'm really thrilled that I decided to pick this back up, so I'm hoping to read one book a month until I finish it. So this will be my February, and then come March I will be reading Wizard and Glass, which I heard the story arc, the plot line of that book is the best in the whole series, so I'm really excited to pick that up. If you've read this series, let me know. I know a lot of my friends have binged this series over and over again. They love it. Any Stephen King fan says this is his best work of all time. And now I'm starting to see that as I'm reading through them. So I'm really, really excited to have decided on a whim to pick the series back up this year. The next I have also a current read, and that is Drawing Down the Mood by Margot Adler. This is a nonfiction book. It's interviews all across America about paganism in America and how people live live and what that means, and the religion and what it really all means. There's so much judgment passed upon pagans and what they're about, especially amongst the Christian community. So this is a great book to kind of pick up if you want some adversity in your life, and to read and educate yourself a little bit more about other societies that are in this world, religious societies that are in this world that really influenced how we are today. Paganism really is coming from before Christ, before it all. This is the original, like, I don't want to say religion, but it really was a way of life. So if you want to know more about the influence, the history, pick this up. I'm really enjoying this. I mean, it is a little like reading a textbook, but at the same time, I feel like I'm getting some story, I'm getting background, I'm getting information about these people's lives, and I'm really enjoying that, and it's kind of feeling like I want to be a part of this community in a way. So check it out if you're someone who's always been interested in witchcraft and paganism and that whole world anyway, because this is one of the most well-known pieces of work, non-fiction work, in that community. The next, I have this gorgeous edition of Wuthering Heights. I'm not sure if I hauled this yet or not. I did buy it around Christmas time, but I am obsessed. This came from the Penguin website in the UK. It's so beautiful, and it was so much fun to read this. This is my favorite classic of all time so far. I absolutely love the story, and reading it in this edition just made it all that much better. So I have Black Sun by Rebecca Rowanhorse, which I've been meaning to read this. Not sure if I hauled this one yet either. You guys let me know. That'll be a little trivia for this video. Put in the comments if I've hauled this yet. But I did get this around release day, and I just haven't gotten into it yet. I heard it's unbelievable. It's a great fantasy series so far. First book in a series. And I would love to be on the bandwagon with it and kind of follow it as the series comes out publishing wise. This way I'm not too far behind, but I want to know what this is about. I want to know what everyone's talking about. I've heard nothing but great things, and yeah, so let me know if you read it. I have this big whopping edition of The Stand by Stephen King. This is one of the Barnes & Noble classic editions, and it is just so freaking awesome. Like, oh my goodness. If you've read the book, you know the symbolism of all of these things. Love it. And Horror in 24 will be doing a read with us for this book in April, so stay tuned for details for that. I will be announcing that. I originally was just going to be me reading it with you guys, but now Horror in 24 is involved. We have some really great surprises for you guys. We're going to be turning this into a thing. There is an Instagram for Horror in 24, so if you want to follow that, it will be linked down below. This way you know all the information for that, and make sure you follow the page, because if you want to stay updated for the read with us, all of that will be posted there on the Instagram. The next I have The Lost Queen by Signe Pike. I heard this is like a Merlin type retelling back in like King Arthur's era, and I wanted something of that, so I picked it up. I think the second book just recently came out. It is a series. I think it's going to be a 3-book series, so I'm looking forward to getting to this at some point, but like I said, I'm so bad at getting to series, but I'm in the mood for it, so we'll see what happens. The next I have Lazarus by Lars Kepler. This is the most recent release by them. I started reading it, and then I put it down because I wanted to read the Sandman. I want to know a little bit more about the characters before I pick up this book, because I felt that there was a lot of storyline missing. Yes, these are supposed to be read like standalones, and I know people that have read this book and they did okay, but for me, I feel that there are things missing, and I want to know these things, and I feel like if I just read the series before picking this up, I'll know those things. So I'm putting it down for now, but so far so good. If you are looking for a really bloody, like interesting, thrilling, really thrilling, like this is a very fast-paced book, pick up Lazarus by Lars Kepler, and this way you can get a feel for the writing. So good, like so good. And I'm upset that I put it down, but I know how I am, and I want to know the history behind these characters a little bit more, so I'm pressing rewind for now. The other book that I picked up for myself was The Witch's Heart, and this is by Genevieve Gornichik. I literally picked this up last night. I have been highly anticipating this. This is a Nordic folklore inspired book about, I don't know how to pronounce her name. The witch's name is Angrboda, and it has to do with Odin and the kings of Asgard and Loki and all those fun Nordic folklore inspired characters, and I cannot wait for this. I am currently reading Circe, which you can kind of see back here, so I'm really looking forward to, you know, ending that and picking this up. I love folklore inspired stories, and I can't wait to get to this. It says here, Angrboda's story begins where most witches' tales end, with a burning, a punishment from Odin for refusing to provide him with knowledge of the future. The fire leaves Angrboda injured and powerless, and she flees to the farthest reaches of a remote forest. There she is found by a man who reveals himself to be Loki, and her initial distrust of him transforms into a deep and abiding love. Their union produces 3 unusual children, each with a secret destiny who Angrboda is keen to raise at the edge of the world, safely hidden from Odin's all-seeing eye. But as Angrboda slowly recovers her prophetic powers, she learns that her blissful life and possibly all of existence is in danger. With help from the fierce huntress Skadi, with whom she shares a growing bond, Angrboda must choose whether she'll accept the fate that she's foreseen for her beloved family or rise to remake their future. From the most ancient of tales, this novel forges a story of love, loss, and hope for a modern age. I just can't tell you how excited I am about this. And this is a debut novel from this author. Louisa Morgan, who's one of my favorite authors, has blurbed it in the back, and a whole bunch of other authors. Alexis Henderson, who did Year of the Witching, which is a really great book, one of my favorites last year. And yeah, so I'm really excited to pick this up. Let me know if you guys picked this up also, if you pre-ordered it, because I kept getting emails from Goodreads about this book. So I wonder if you guys heard about it as well. If not, add it to your TBR lists because I think it's going to be a really good one. Then next I have some gifts here from some of my booktube friends. So I have Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno Garcia, and then I have here The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchison, and then I have Ghosts of Green Glass House by Kate Milford, all from my friend Aimee at Aimee Reads. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. You are so sweet, and you made my birthday beautiful and bright. Thank you so much. I have been wanting to get to all 3 of these books for a really long time. I haven't yet, but Gods of Jade and Shadow, I read Mexican Gothic in October, and I fell in love with Silvia Moreno Garcia's writing just from that book. I absolutely love that story, so I cannot wait to get into this. And then The Butterfly Garden, I know, is one of Aimee's favorite books that she's read, and she's been telling me to read it, and I'm going to finally read it, so thank you. And this is the second book in a series called Green Glass House, and this is the Ghost of Green Glass House, and it's just a mystery middle grade series that is so lighthearted and fun and something to read in the wintertime. So if you're looking for a fun lighthearted mystery, definitely check out this series of books because they're really good. Next I have here a gift from Raine, and that is Entering Hecate's Garden, and this is by Cindy Brennan. This is a witchy book. This actually has a lot of like recipes in here and just ways of using earthy elements in your magical studies and using the earth spirits with your magical studies. It's a really great book. It's a little bit more on the advanced side. I wouldn't say it's like an introductionary book by any means, but if you're interested in working with Hecate's energy, who is the goddess of magic, she's actually Circe's mother, in case you were wondering, and she is the goddess of witchcraft. So it's really something that I've been meaning to get to, and I'm so excited to get into this. I've been reading like bits and pieces here and there and using some of the formulas that are added in this book, things that I've never worked with before. I'm really thankful that Raine gifted me this book. And then lastly, I have The Spell Book for New Witches, and this is by Ambrosia Hawthorne. This is from my friend Sandra at Strictly Stephen King on Instagram. She is the sweetest ever. I love collecting spell books. That is just my thing. I collect them. If I see a new one, I put it on my list. So this is a little guide for, especially for beginner witches, and I honestly like going through these. These are great spells for beginner witches, so if you're interested, definitely add it to your list. If you're someone who's just starting out and wants a spell book to refer to, check it out. It will give you some like a variety of ways to do spells. And I really think that it is great for the modern witch too. It's not very like, you know, herbs and you have to have all these like old school things. Like you could use things that you have like lying around the house, and that's what's great about this spell book. So if you want to check it out, definitely suggest picking it up. And thank you so much to all of my beautiful friends that gifted me things for my birthday. You were the sweetest ever. That is it for this book haul. A lot of books, but not that many books. I want to read what I have, or at least try to. So yeah, so let me know if you guys have read any of these books, if you picked any of these books up. Let me know in the comments down below. I would like to mention that now MoonLitBookShop, which is my Etsy shop, has these amazing t-shirts based on the novel by Stephen King. T-shirts in gray and black and yellow and red if you'd like, and also there's other Stephen King swag on that website as well. So I will leave that link down below in case you want to support me and my channel. I really appreciate you so much. Thank you for everybody that has ordered from my shop. I have never thought that it would be at this point my entire life, but I'm so happy that you guys are enjoying my products and definitely supporting me, and it's just been an amazing thing. I'm so happy. So I recently designed these based on the novel by Stephen King shirts, and I have more stuff coming to the shop, but that will be coming out more in March. I also have book sleeves that are Stephen King related. I have crystal jewelry. I have these pendants. And I also have some bracelets on there as well. I love my Etsy shop. It really embodies me. It has all the things that I love thrown into one. So if you'd like to check it out, the link will be linked down below. And yeah, so thank you guys so much. There are a lot of fun announcements coming your way in the next coming months, and I am so excited to share them with you guys. So if you want to see more videos from me, please just like and subscribe down below, and I'll be talking to you guys soon. Bye!